So welcome, everyone. Hopefully this is the presentation that you signed up for today. Balancing your brain with movement. If not, you're still welcome to attend. Heck, why not, right? I'm going to just ask that everyone make sure they're on mute for now. And I'm actually going to invite you to be off mute a little bit later, just for when we get into the fun and games of this presentation. And I'm welcoming you to this open space to just enjoy learning a little bit about how we can take action within our own lives to make sure that we are living a vital life, a life that we want to live to the best of our ability, no matter what stage of life we're in, no matter what trajectory we go on. And so let's just jump into this presentation. Of course, love to start with a poll. Oops, let me get out of here. I might be able to. So here is the first question. By the way, these are all anonymous, so you can choose however you'd like. There's not going to be any connection of who is who. And this is just a question about, I am here because. So perhaps you're a care partner of someone who is living with dementia. Maybe you yourself have noticed some shifts in your own cognition. So your own memory, the way that you feel about your life, how you connect with others, those types of things. Maybe you have a genetic risk factor for dementia, for Alzheimer's disease. Maybe someone in your family has had it, you've watched them. Or maybe you just want to keep yourself in tip-top shape, your brain especially. I signed up because it looked fun. I wanted to check it out. And maybe there's other reasons that you signed up today. And you can choose more than one if you want to, just because, why not? Variety is good. All right. So let's see, 6 of us. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 of us on the call today, I think. And I know some people are coming. 2, 4, 6, 7. All right. So, and some of us are probably not all that used to picking something on here. So if you're not used to Zoom, don't worry about it. There's no stress. You can just check that box in your mind. All right, I'm going to end the poll and let's see what our results are here. All right, so can you see these results? Just give me a thumbs up or just, yeah, okay. So I'm here because I am, so no one's here because they're actually caring for someone living with dementia at this point in time. Some of us have noticed some shifts in our own memory and we're just concerned about it. We'd like to take some action. Some of us have a genetic risk factor for dementia. And almost all of us, 5 out of 6 of us here, want to keep our brains in tip-top shape. I'm sure that's 6 out of 6. And this looked like fun. And some others. For anyone else who picked, for whomever picked other, do you feel comfortable coming off mute and just sharing what the rationale is for you being here today? And if not, no worries. Okay, no worries at all. Okay. Okay, so today's presentation is, we're going to talk a little bit about the impact of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Some of you may know some of this already, but it's always just a really big realization to learn some details about Alzheimer's disease and dementia and the impact of it. And then we're going to talk about some epigenetics and lifestyle. And then we'll actually explore how exercise affects our brains. And then, this is where the fun really comes in, we're going to try and see what happens when we activate some of these exercises in our own bodies. I love to start every presentation I do with just a moment together to take a pause and to take a breath. So I'll invite you to sit back in your chair for just a moment. If it feels available to you, you're welcome to soften your eyes, maybe close them. We're all so busy. And coming onto these meetings can be very stressful and wanting to be here on time, et cetera, et cetera. So now let's just focus on yourself for just one moment. softening the space around your eyes, perhaps opening and closing your jaw, creating space, allowing your shoulders to fall gently away from your ears. And now in your own space and your own time, to take 3 breaths in and out. Just do that on your own. Once you've completed those breaths, just have patience with them. Just notice how you are in this moment. And when you're ready, just coming back into this space together, like opening your eyes and feeling a little more energized, perhaps a little more calm, perhaps a little more focused. Thank you for doing that with me. It always helps me so much too. So let's talk about the impact of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And these are the latest facts and figures from the Alzheimer's Association from 2021. So they are very, very recent. We know that actually more than 6 million Americans live with Alzheimer's disease. It's, I think, 6.2 million. That's a lot of people. That's just in the United States. 2/3 of the people who live with Alzheimer's and dementia are women. 1/3 seniors die with Alzheimer's disease or dementia, and it kills more than breast cancer, prostate cancer combined. We saw a 16% increase in Alzheimer's and dementia deaths ever since COVID-19. So in this time frame, deaths from Alzheimer's and dementia went up 16%. That is under 2 years' time. And we can attribute a lot of that to the isolation that we've been having to do, to be all alone. It's one of the risk factors for dementia and for all-cause mortality, in fact. Loneliness and isolation. 11 million Americans provide unpaid care for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. So we have a lot of caregivers out there who are providing free care. They are not even put into the cost of dementia and Alzheimer's. So they're not even put into the cost of how much we spend on that. But we spend $355 billion in 2021 for Alzheimer's care and dementia. And it's expected to rise to 1.1 trillion by 2050. Okay, I pulled this slide up because I thought it was really relevant for us to see. You can see the green is the age range of 65 to 74. The yellow are ages 75 to 84, and purple is 85 plus. And we can see down here on the bottom, it's the years. So 2020, we've got 6.1 or 6.2 million people. By 2030, I am going to be 60. So 2030, I'm going to be 60. By 2040, I'll be 70. Now those numbers go up to 11 million. So they're actually almost doubling in 20 years. So we're seeing more cases of Alzheimer's and dementia as we all age. And I don't know about you, but I want to do my best to make sure that I'm not going to fall into this category. So I know that you are here for some of those reasons as well. And we look even further to 2060, that's what, 40 years from now. Some of us will still be here, and we don't want to fall into this category, right? Some of us will be seeing you when we all get to heaven. But wherever you are on the trajectory, we of course don't want to see anyone end up with Alzheimer's. So we want to try to do everything that we possibly can. So let's talk about dementia in general. So dementia is an umbrella term for all the kinds of neurodegenerative types of diseases. So when you hear dementia, it can be synonymous for Alzheimer's disease or vascular dementia or Lewy bodies dementia, which we, Robin Williams passed away from Lewy bodies dementia. But Alzheimer's disease is the number one top dementia out there. I kind of think of this like a car. Like a car can be like a car is equal to dementia. Underneath the car is like Ford, is like BMW, is like Tesla. So underneath that, that is like how we look at dementia. So there's categories. So just so you know, they're not all the same, and they are distinctly different, and they show up very differently in each person. And we have a saying in the dementia world, which is, when you've seen one dementia, you've seen one dementia, because everyone is completely different in how they present, how they show up, how it's affecting their brain. And when you could imagine all of the billions of neurons, the things that make our brains fire, if any of those are altered in any way, it shows up differently for that person. So just so you understand that, some people have some confusion around that. So we'll talk about Alzheimer's just very briefly. I'm going to give you a super high level view. Alzheimer's, we've potentially heard of beta amyloid plaques or tangles, tau tangles. Basically what happens in Alzheimer's is these plaques and or tau invade either outside of a neuron or the pathway to the neuron, or they go inside. These proteins go inside the neuron cell, and it causes cell damage and destruction, and eventually neuron death. Neurons are the things that fire and keep our brains active. And so you can imagine if plaques, like you know about in your heart, or vessels, those happen in your brain, they're going to affect the way that the cells work. So that's really what happens. Now, the interesting thing about Alzheimer's is they've discovered is that even sometimes in people who have been really active in their lives and have a lot of cognitive reserve, which we'll touch on that in a little bit of time, what they notice is that when they potentially do, maybe they donated their body to science, they do the autopsy on their brain, and their brains look like they have Alzheimer's, but they actually never showed any signs or symptoms of the Alzheimer's. So there are some very fascinating studies out there that are showing that even though you may have some plaques and tangles, it may not show up as symptoms of actual Alzheimer's or changes or shifts in memory or changes or shifts in the way your brain processes. So that's exciting. The people who do have high cognitive reserve are those people who may have these plaques and tangles, but just don't show up as signs and symptoms. And like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute. It's very exciting to me. Now, there's another form of dementia called vascular dementia, which is the second most common dementia. Now, when we talk about dementias, Alzheimer's at the top, that's like 6 to 7 out of 10 people with dementia would have Alzheimer's. Vascular dementia is like 2 out of 10. And then Lewy bodies is like 1 out of 10. So you can see there's a big space in between, with the most prevalent being Alzheimer's. Now, I talk about vascular dementia because vascular dementia is very important to understand too, because it is where the blood vessels that actually go to the neurons and affect the brain in general get blocked, and they break down and they cause cellular destruction in a different way, which can show up with very similar signs to Alzheimer's disease. So just so you know that, because this will become important when we talk about how exercise affects everything in your brain. So why are we here? Why are we here? Well, for me, I'm here because my grandmother, she lived through, I think, 13 to 15 to who knows how many different strokes in her life. So she lived through those, and you can see me, I'm pretty young at this point. I'm really only 2 years older than this picture. I'm And there's my sister and my brother and my grandma, ma mère, which is French for grandmother. And that might become very important by the end of this presentation. Ma mère is French for grandmother. Okay, so my grandmother lived through this many strokes, and it eventually started to affect the way that she lived her life. And over time, things changed a lot for my ma mère. So as we talk about vascular dementia and things that are affecting when we talk about strokes and things that affect the way our brains function, keeping in mind that I am so interested in this and this type of work because I was personally affected by the way that brains change because of dementia and the way that lives change. So maybe you're here, and we talked a little bit about this. Few of you are noticing some shifts in your own cognition. Maybe some of you have heard of this genetic factor called APOE4. APOE4, it is an allele that's a genetic factor that some of us may carry. And if we have a few of them, it can predispose us to more of Alzheimer's disease risk. But the interesting thing about this is that if you have an APOE4 allele, exercise is the number one thing you can do to prevent Alzheimer's. Just information that you need to know. And nowadays, like there's the 24andMe and all of these genetic factors, testings are going on. So if you get learn that you have APOE4, then you can do something about it. It's not like a done deal. So, and that's why I'm having this presentation, is because I want you to know that there are things that we can do. Some of us are here because we're actually caring for someone who is living with dementia. So you are all living with dementia, or perhaps you have seen a loved one, a friend, an aunt. You've seen them on TV, a movie star who are affected by this terrible disease. Maybe you're just here because you want to know as much as you can to prevent this from happening to you. You want to take action for your future. And some of you are here because, you know what, this thing looks so cool. I just wanted to show up. And good for you for being here. Because we want all people to start to understand this new science that is changing every day, that we're learning new things about the brain and how we can take ownership of our own selves. Now, I put this calendar on here because some of us are here because we feel status quo. We feel great. Everything's perfectly fine. Well, I want everyone to understand that disease processes, diabetes, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's dementia, anything that's a disease process that we may have heard about, those don't just show up on your doorstep. You don't just wake up one morning and have diabetes or dementia or high blood pressure or osteoporosis. You don't just wake up with those things. Those have been brewing in your system for sometimes decades. And the new research shows that some people with dementia and Alzheimer's, their symptoms were showing up, or the damage was being done decades before any symptom ever showed up in their life. So the things we do now, no matter what age we're at, no matter where our life is going, affect us for our future. And I talked a little bit about epigenetics, and this is a newer science within the last 15 or 20 years or so. Bruce Lipman is just a man who likes to talk about epigenetics. I just really like this quote. He says, epigenetics reveals we are not victims of our genes, but are in fact masters of our genes. And I'm sure you have heard in the past, like, oh, my grandma has high blood pressure, my mom had diabetes, so that means I'm going to get diabetes. Well, the truth of the matter is that is not the truth. Yes, you have those genetic markers. You cannot change your genes, but the things you do or don't do on a daily basis can shift the way that your genes show up. So that is epigenetics in a nutshell. It's your lifestyle, the things you do on a daily basis. The genes can become activated, or they can stay, in some cases, dormant, or vice versa. Sometimes we want them to be active. Sometimes we don't. It depends. So knowing that, there are many lifestyle factors that we have in our lives that we do on a daily basis, like who doesn't eat every day, who doesn't sleep every day, who's affected by stress every day, right? You're all putting up your hands. When we are faced with the things that we do on a daily basis, we can actually help ourselves when we get a lot of stress. We can help ourselves to sleep better. We can make choices with the foods that we eat. We can continue to learn, which really positively affects our brain. So you're already touching on that one, that helps your brain health. And then positive socialization, which we're going to have some fun a little bit later with getting to be in the space together. And moving more, which is what we are going to really be focusing on today, so that we can live to the best of our ability, right? We can live a healthy lifestyle, be filled with energy, be vital in all that we do by using the science that is available to us as it becomes available. This stuff is not being taught in medical school yet. So just so you know that, it's because I pretty much have been so interested in this that I want to know as much about it as possible. But then I don't want to just keep it to myself. I want to share it. So we're going to also take action. And then when we do both those things and, live our lives to the best of our ability, there creates a sense of hope, no matter where we are in the trajectory of our lives, whether we are living with a debilitating disease, there's always hope when we can have some ownership over our life and our trajectory for that. So I want us to think about our brains like we do about our hearts. There's so much talk about heart disease and how the heart works, but they don't talk a lot about the brain. But the truth is, when we think about ourselves as a whole being, like we're not just a brain, we're not just a heart, we're not just a broken arm, right? We're more than that. We are one holistic being. And so as I start talking about all of the things, the ways that exercise affects us, know that, it affects your brain, but it's going to affect your entire body. It's going to affect your entire being. In healthcare today, we tend to look at things from the perspective of a body part, right? So if we wake up one day and we're like, oh my gosh, I've got major cramps, I need to go to the doctor. We go to the doctor and the doctor focuses just on the area where you had the cramps, right? They don't look to see, okay, why did you get the cramps? What was going on? What does your food look like? Are you in a lot of stress right now? Are you going through a change of life, perhaps perimenopause or menopause? Are your hormones out of whack? Like, we need to look at the whole picture. And so when we talk about exercise and lifestyle, I'm talking about everything encompassing all of our being. Although today I am focused on the brain, but when you take care of your brain, you are in essence taking care of absolutely everything else in your whole being. Now, my mère, she did not have this information, but we do now. So, it's time to be active. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. And I, for myself, I'm not going to let my soul be wrinkled. I'm going to get lots of wrinkles here, and I don't care. But the soul will not be wrinkled. And I appreciate all of you for being here to share in my enthusiasm, because that's where I come in. I've done a lot of training. I feel like I dedicated my whole life to this kind of stuff because I've been teaching group fitness since I was 18, 17 years old. My mom's on the call today. She's on this call today. I asked her, Mom, can I go to the YMCA and learn how to teach fitness? And she's like, well, heck yeah. So she supported me my whole life. I'm a nurse. I'm a registered nurse. I have my master's, the Functional Aging Institute, functional aging specialist, which I see two of my colleagues on the call today, Anne and Anne, who are really interested in this type of work, working with others who are aging, because guess what? We're all aging. And we use these tools to help us and our communities where they live, where you live, work, and play, to help us live to the best of our ability. I'm also an Alzheimer's Association community educator. So why are we doing all this? For me, it boils down to functional longevity. Like, I don't want to just live, and I'm sure a lot of us don't want to just live in a body that is not functional, that is not able to do what you want to do. I know that you're here because you're like, heck, I want to do what I want to do for all of my years. And that's what this information is for. It's to help get us energized and enthusiastic about moving towards functional longevity. So Anne is saying, I do it to change the paradigm of aging. Yes, Anne, yes, you do. And we all have a reason for being here and doing what we do. And thank you so much for being here. All right. So functional capacity. Just to briefly look at this slide. On the left side over here, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. I don't know. Let me see my laser pointer. See this functional capacity right here. This is what we can do in our life. Like the things we can do, whether we can get up out of the chair, whether we want to travel, whether we want to have great sex, whatever it is, that's our functional capacity. And you can see this line, it moves up in early life. And as we become in adult life, it kind of steadies off. And then as we age, it goes down. There are some people in our life who you say, man, they're 85 years old. They're still traveling. They're still hiking up mountains. They are in their older age and they are maintaining independence and preventing disability because of the way that they live their life. Sometimes it's a little bit of luck, but sometimes it's a lot of doing things like this. And so there's also the disability, where it's this light gray line, where we can lose some function and move towards the disability. Now, I want to let you know that I always say that no matter where you are in your life, wherever it is, if you are living with a disability or going through rehabilitation, it's your quality of life that matters. So we're doing the best we can do with what we have. And I truly honor that as a registered nurse, having seen so many people doing the best they can do with what they have today. And then thinking about their future and how they can continue to do that as we all age together. Love this slide. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you was? Right? How old would you be? Type it in the chat if you feel like, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you was right now? 19, Anne says. Oh, and she also said at 60, I'm doing things I never did before. Awesome. Anyone else have an age where they see where they're feeling they are? They didn't know how old they was. Oh, I love it. 42. All right, good stuff. Awesome. So everyone is going to feel a little bit different. Some of us don't even know how to put a chat in there, so don't worry on that. I'm just going to attribute some of the upcoming slides to Ryan Glatt, who's the creator of the Brain Health Trainer course. I see Lois says she's in her 30s. Awesome. Feels like she's in her 30s. Ryan Glatt created the Brain Health Trainer, which I'm a certified brain health trainer, which we'll have some fun here in a minute. I can't wait to get to that part. But I did want to talk just to touch on normal aging, because normal aging, everyone experiences slight cognitive changes during aging. That is going to be real. There are going to be some changes that you're going to experience. Like me, I'm going through perimenopause. I have a lot of memory things going on. My hormones are crazy. But as we are moving through different stages of our life, we are seeing potentially some shifts in aging. So you can see this green line up here. Everyone will have a slight shift in our cognition. Some people will shift a little bit more. Some will move a little bit more, and some are at the stages of feeling like they have some memory changes that are maybe not as acceptable, or they notice changes in the way they are communicating, or changes in the way they're managing their checkbook, things that are changing in the way that they function. That could be potentially preclinical for cognitive decline. You know something is up. I encourage you 150% that if you feel something is up, to go see your doctor, to go see your healthcare provider, to find somebody who specializes in brain health to help you understand, is this just because you are highly stressed, you're not sleeping well, or you have potentially some vitamin deficiencies, or is this really something you need to have some cognitive testing to understand where you're at And I do encourage everyone to get baseline cognitive testing at around the time they hit about 60 to 65 years old. So you know where you are at. You can ask your doctor to do that. You can ask your healthcare provider, your nurse practitioner, your PA, can I get some cognitive testing? And they will help you organize that in your community. Then we have this mild cognitive impairment where changes are concerning you and your family is noticing maybe some of these cognitive domains are impaired. And you want to still, of course, preserve every little bit of you that you have. And you can see how this trajectory changes the blue, dark blue line, and you can see the orange line moves into mild, moderate, moderately severe to severe dementia. And this is just in time over years. You can see that it takes time. We do see, and remember that slide where I pulled up all of the people who are in the, all of the people over in 2060 that we're going to see, 11 million people that's actually 20 years from now, 11 million people and beyond. But those age groups, we notice that people with developed dementia and Alzheimer's are in a little bit older cognition. However, we are seeing a lot more younger people showing up with signs and symptoms of dementia. Just so you know this, your brain's ability to change in response to experiences is blue line. This is when you're young. All of the things that your brain's changing, it's not having too much trouble, but as you age, its ability to change to experiences goes down a little bit. Some of us, I know, are set in our ways. It takes us a lot of effort to change. And so just so you know, when you're young, it's pretty easy to change. But as you go up, it takes you a lot more effort to change. So just having that in the back of your mind. And then I want to talk about cognitive reserve, because cognitive reserve is your resilience in your brain. So the things that you can, the way that your brain resolves itself, it's kind of like resilience in life. Some people get sick, but yet they're able to recover very quickly. That's resilience, bouncing back. People who have been known to have high education, or people who are very active and social, people who are always engaging in learning, who exercise, who are getting great sleep, who are controlling their disease process, who manage their medications, they tend to have a higher cognitive reserve. People who are not as interested in all that, and maybe they didn't have a higher education, tend to have a lower cognitive reserve. But really what the bottom line is I want you to understand is that it is possible to increase your cognitive reserve, and you can do that with movement. All right, effects of exercise. And I would love to pop in a poll. So here's a poll for us. And let me see. A second poll. All right, here we go. My weekly exercise and physical activity consists of chores around the house, and you can pick more than one, by the way. Chores around the house, aerobic exercise like running and high intensity interval training, maybe yoga, tai chi, mind-body exercises, weight training, martial arts, dance, playing on a sports team, walking, or you don't exercise or you want to exercise more. Just go ahead and pick something on here. You can pick multiple things on this one. Oh, actually, you can only pick one. I'm sorry, I forgot to change that. So you can only pick one. But go ahead and click one of these questions or one of these things that you do the most of, since you can only pick one. All right, so we've got some people doing yoga, tai chi, mind-body exercise, walking. Some of us want to exercise a little bit more. All right, some of us are trying to figure out how to do the poll and can't figure it out. No worry, no worry at all. All right, so I'm going to end the poll just so we know what's going on. I'm going to share the results just so we know what is happening with the polls. So it looks like most of us are doing yoga, tai chi, and mind-body exercises, and some of us are walking. Awesome. Great. And some of us want to exercise a little bit more as well. Thank you. Thank you for doing that poll. Just so you know, I always talk about continuous learning, right? I am continuously learning because I'm learning how to do polls on Zoom. I did talk about how we're in this together, reminding yourself that when you are taking care of your heart, you are taking care of your brain. And for all of us who are doing Tai Chi and yogas and different mind-body exercises, I do have to encourage you to get your heart pumping with aerobic exercise as well. So that could be walking or walking at a fast pace so that your heart is pumping, because there are so much research that supports how blood pumping, exercise with the blood pumping, opens up, dilates our blood vessels, creates more blood flow into our brain, reduces our blood pressure, our heart rate goes up, yes, but the after effects are the heart rate pumps more effectively. So it also shows that we can make new blood cells, new neurons, new blood cells themselves, that are not neurons, or angiogenesis, and we can create new vascular pathways with actual exercise. Now, I just am pointing that out because as we go through this next part, which talks about exercise, it'll tell you about the science. So we have just talked about the science of why exercise is important. It does actually build new neurons in certain brain regions. And I just want to reinforce that the science of this is still newer. There's always new things up and coming. New synapses, the way your brain fires. New skills and experiences create new neural connections. So the way the brain cells connect with each other. And then how strong those synapses are connected. So the repetition and practice of actual exercise strengthens your neural connections. And of course, we also know that without connections, the connections that we don't use, so if you're only doing one form of exercise, great on you, but I'll just encourage you to think about maybe incorporating other forms of exercise, because some of the pathways become weaker if we don't really use them all. So just so that we understand some of the science, the brain health ingredients are to do a whole encompassing style of exercise. So resistance training. So actually lifting some weights. I know some of us in here are doing that. Loaded movement training, whether that be body weight or whether that be actual weight. Then exercise, aerobic exercise, steady state training. Yes, you can go on a treadmill or run outside, or you can do high intensity interval training. All of these things have an effect on different parts of your brain. But I do want to point out that in general, all exercise helps your brain. And then we have skill-based exercise, like people who dance or do a sport or potentially do martial arts. All of those are what we call multi-purpose or multitasking to actually affect the brain in different regions. All right, and then we have cognitively enhanced exercise, which is dual tasking, cognitive motor training, and exergaming, which is actually some of the newer science coming out on that. And today we're going to explore some different things, which are coming up too in just a minute, but I want to talk about some major things of how exercise affects your brain in particular areas within your brain. So we have executive function, memory, attention, and processing speed. And I'm just going to pop into the chat because I noticed a couple things that Anne was saying. Body weight and yoga definitely gets the heart pumping. This is true. Depends on effort level and depends on a lot of things, like, is this novelty? Is this something new that I'm doing, which is really great for your brain? Or is it something that's really repetitive? And we're just talking about brain health. There's nothing wrong with doing any of these things, but how can we enhance our brain just a little bit more when we start thinking about how exercise can do that? And then movement to music. Oh yes, my colleague has 30 studies on this being #1 for the brain with their Drums Alive movement programming. Okay, so movement to music, I mean the connection to music and dance and people around you. I mean, all of those things have so much benefit, of course. Thanks for bringing those to light. So executive functioning. So this is mostly happening in the front of our brain, the prefrontal cortex. And what this is it talks about impulse control. So some of us, if we've ever, some of us have a little bit of difficulty controlling impulses. That's in your executive functioning area of your brain. Exercise actually helps with impulse control in the way we train specifically for that. Executive function is your organization, your planning, things that you are thinking about for your future, maybe finances, how to do activities of daily living, and also working memory, the present memory, like potentially you learn something and then you repeat that right away. That's your working memory. That all resides in your executive functioning. So, and I do want you to just kind of listen to what I'm saying, because I'm going to ask you a question of, if you do think about your brain, what would you be most concerned about? So there's executive functioning, which is your working memory, organization, impulse control. They kind of call it the CEO of your brain in a way. Memory is another component where exercise has a great impact. And memory is the things you can recall, the things you store, or the things that you can pull from or organize within your brain. So thinking of memory as all of those things, not just recalling, but how you can actually organize these things within your brain. So how you are realizing and acknowledging those. And this can be like verbally, visually, this could be procedures, things like that, things of that nature. Okay, and then we have two more, which is processing speed. Processing speed is how quickly you can process information coming in, whether that be visual or audio, auditory, so you could get the word auditory, and how you respond or react to that. And that's measured usually in time. And then finally, we're going to touch on exercises for attention. Now, attention is interesting because it's got a lot of facets to it. It's really how you attend to stimulus. So it could be that you are focused on a task, so a sustained kind of attention. So one thing. Perhaps it's selecting things that you want to pay attention to. So maybe you are watching TV and you're listening to a conversation. Or maybe you are switching tasks. You are actually physically moving from one task to something completely different. And it could be something like being on the computer and then walking over to get a book, and then coming back with the book and then returning to your computer. And then we have divided capacities, which I like to think of as like walking and talking, doing two things at the same time. And I put this picture of the people together on a hike, because as you can think, when you're hiking, how much attention do you need to go through the hike? You need to look where your feet are going. You're noticing a tree, you're noticing a squirrel. Is that a mountain lion? There's a lot of things going on when you are hiking. So that's how we kind of think of attention, thinking of multiple ways. All right, so given those four things, executive function, your CEO of your brain, memory, attention, attending to the stimulus, doing multiple things at once potentially, or processing speed. If I pull up a poll, where do you think you would want the most work? Or where you think is your cognitive concern? So the number one concern about my cognition from those four things is potentially executive function, memory, processing speed, attention, or I don't really have a concern over my cognition at this point. All right. Okay, so everyone's answered the poll. I will say, for me personally, it's executive function for myself, and everybody's different, and I want to be very clear on that. So let's pull up, see the results. So we see 2 out of 6 of us, 3 out of 6 if we, 7 if we include myself, interested in executive function. Some of us are concerned about our memory. Attention is another one. And right now, someone doesn't even have any concern over cognition. So good on you. There you go. All right. Great. All right. So I wanted to pull this up right now because I'm going to go off. We're going to go off these slides here in a minute. So you can get me here at Nicole@BlueMonarchHealth.com. I also have a fun Facebook group. It's called Aging with Grace and Balance, if you'd like to join us for the conversation that we're having on there. And then I also have a free gift. If you'd like, you can just go to my website, BlueMonarchHealth.com, do a / and then type in free gift, and you will have access to that. So we are going to get moving, and I'm actually going to turn off my computer and set up real quick because I need to move. So I would encourage you to get moving a little bit, stand up and get moving around a little bit. And in a minute, I cut myself off. All right. Did you get up to stand? Get up, move around a little bit? Okay, so I'm going to invite you to have some space around you. You don't have to have super duper space, but some space. Like for me, I just have my chair over there. You are welcome to be seated. You are welcome to stand. You are welcome to observe. You don't have to do anything. But if you'd like to try some of this, it is super fun. I want to let you know a few things. You are the boss of you. So you're going to do what works for you, how it works for you, how fast, how slow. It doesn't matter as long as you're just moving a little bit. Also, there is no right and there is no wrong in what we're going to be doing. So I want you to let that go. That doesn't matter. It's just an exploration of some fun things that we're going to try. And some of them I'm going to do with you, and some of them I'm not going to do with you. So just so you know that, and it's all in the fun and the energy and the positive vibes of using our brains and bodies together to enhance our well-being and do what we can do. All right? Do I got thumbs up out there? Yeah, I see some of us. Okay. And some of us are off screen, totally fine. Maybe you're not in a position that you can show us where you're at. No worries. All right. So the first thing we're going to touch on is a little bit of processing speed. Okay. So processing speed, that's how quickly you react. So all it is here are the instructions. When I clap once, you're going to reach your right arm out to the side and bring it back in. When I clap twice, your left arm goes out as fast as you can and back in. Okay? So one clap, right arm reaches, and you're going to pretend, I think my screen is flipped, but 2 claps is other arm. Yes. Okay. So 1 clap, right reach. 2 claps, left reach. Here we go. Good. Oh, what happened? I did 3. Did I do 3 claps? How many of you felt like you wanted to go and do a whole bunch of things? Right. Okay. So what I didn't tell you is that 3 claps means don't do anything. That's your impulse control. Okay, you ready? Good, good memory. Nice. Anna. Good. Excellent. Okay. Awesome job. So that's processing speed. Going to flip it. 2 claps. Left leg goes out to the side. It could just be a tap out to the side. 1 clap, right leg out to the side. Okay, as quick as you can. 2 claps, left leg, 1 clap, right leg. Nice. Oh, good. There's that 3 clap again. Okay. Woo! High fives, guys. Nice. Good. Okay, so that was just the warm up, right? All right. Okay. So the next one is going to be a little bit of working memory and connecting ourselves to colors, movement, and automobiles. Okay, so you're like, what is going on here? Okay, when I say color, a color, you're going to clap twice. So if I say blue, what do? Good. If I say an automobile, you're going to pull your knees up 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so just 3 times. So if I say BMW, what will you do? Good. If I say purple, Honda. Good. Black. Nice. Ford. Mercedes. Pink. Well done. Now I'm going to put this into a stream. So listen to the pattern. Purple, Ford, pink. Yes, good, good. Let's try another one. Mercedes, BMW, white. Nice, good. And each of us is going to do this at our own speed and our own pace, right? All is well. Okay, how did that feel on a scale of, okay, so I'm going to give you a scale, 0 to 10. 0 being so easy, 10 being super hard. But let's put a spin on it. How did that feel cognitively? 0 being super easy, 10 being super hard. And give me a fingers on a scale. Okay, yeah. So everyone, you can see everyone's completely different. And that is a good thing. We're all in different positions. How frustrating was that for you on a scale of 0 to 10? So some of us are a little bit frustrated. Some of us are not frustrated at all. If you feel frustrated, we want you to be, around 5, 6. If you're 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's a little bit too much. I wouldn't change anything for you. You would just keep going with what we're doing and we would get the hang of this. there is some novelty to this too, right? This is all new stuff. So the novelty component is great for your brain. The processing is great for your brain, and thinking of working memory, which is executive function, helps your brain in that way. The movement associated with it is what is the brain and physical activity connected. So if you were fine, if you're not feeling frustrated, how about this? I'm going to give you another topic. So colors, 2 claps. Automobiles, 3 knees. Fruit, hands up, touch your thighs. Okay, so apple. Good, touch your thighs. Good, banana. Awesome. Blue. Tesla. Automobile. Banana. Good, all right. I'm going to give you another chance here. White. Blueberry. Corvette. Excellent. Apple. Black. Corvette. Nice. Another one. Purple. Blue. Tesla. Nice. Good. Yellow, banana, BMW. Excellent. Okay, should we go up one more to 4? You can always dance too. If it gets too much, just dance. Okay, dance it off. All right, here we go. Here they are. Black, pomegranate, BMW, pink. Nice, Anne. Go Sandra, go Doris, go Lois, go Becky, go Elaine. Awesome. Good. Try it again. I'll tell it to you. Ready? Don't do anything. Black, pomegranate, BMW, pink. Awesome. One more. Apple, pink, cherry, Ford. Woo, look at you guys go. You know what? You fake it till you make it. Right. And dance if it just doesn't feel right. Good job. Give yourself a clap. More than 2 times, right? More than 2 times. Awesome work. Okay, let's try one more thing and then we're out of here. So number 1 is march. Okay, so march in place. If you're seated, you'll just march your feet on the floor. 2 is punch. 1 is, what's 1? Two is what? Good, good. 3, raise your hands over your head, up and down. Good. 4 is quick feet. All right, so 1 is good. 2 is, 3 is, 4 is 4. I'm doing it with you to start. 4. 3. Awesome. 2. 1. Keep marching. 2. Keep punching. 1. 3. 4. Good, you got the quick feet. Good, 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 good. Stop. I'm going to give you 2 in a row. 3, 4. So just go, do a few of each, and then move to the next one. Nice. Well done. 1, 2. Do your favorite number. What is it? Awesome. I'm going to invite everybody to come off of mute. I'm going to see if I can actually get you all off mute. I'm going to, oh, maybe not. There we go. Awesome. Well done, everyone. If you can't get off mute, no worries. I can't even, there we go, ask you all to mute all. Ask all to unmute. Allow you to unmute. There we go. I'm getting it all now. See if you can. There you go. Great. If you can't figure it out, no worries. It's all good. I can actually unmute maybe. All right. So how are you feeling?
Good.
What is one thing you're taking away with you today?
Well, I'm trying to motivate my husband to exercise, and I know he was going to a meeting, but I noticed he stayed about 15 minutes for the class.
So good. Awesome.
So stay active.
Stay active. Yes, Sandra. Mm-hmm.
Amazing ideas.
Yeah.
I gotta talk to you a little bit more.
Oh yeah. We need to all talk. Yeah. Great. And this is just, it's just a sprinkling of things, sprinkling of ideas, just to hopefully help you move and get going, and know that everything that you do to move is going to help your body and brain, mentality, thinking about mental health, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm so thankful for each of you for being here.
I have something to tell you quickly.
Yes.
So from an Aerobosaurus, literally,
Yes.
The muscle memory is so important. So just know that you have a huge muscle memory, and everything you've ever done in movement in your whole life, you can access and bring to the moment. And that's why the fascia has a completely different memory bank than the brain. So you have 2 memory banks you can access. People don't know this.
Yeah. So the fascia, which is part of our musculature,
that holds memory and emotion and issues.
Yeah. And I think of the people who have been moving their whole lives, but they're also the people who have never moved in their life. They can actually learn. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you know how to reach me. I am always available. If you like this kind of thing, I was thinking we should start a little workout for it, but I am still contemplating on how we can do this. But I thank each of you for bringing your positive energies here and for bringing your energies out to the world for all that you do. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Nice to see everyone.
Nicole, where's your link to your Facebook thing? Is that in your email?
How about when I'm going to send this recording out in an email, and I'll put that link there. I'll send it to you, Lois. I'll send it to you.
And we can share it with friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
It's just a fun thing to do, connect people. So yeah.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Awesome. You too. Bye.
Bye.